Good morning, eighth grade earth scientists. It's Mrs. Anderson again, and we are going to go over what you will be missing today in class. So hopefully you have your book at home. You could do your Edpuzzle today while you are at home. So today is our last work day for our mini book, and we will also be doing our lesson review today. So we'll start off with our lesson review from page 161 in our textbook. We will also be doing that Edpuzzle. So if you are able to do that at home, it should be linked in Google Classroom. Our learning target is I can explain what causes a solar and lunar eclipse. Our word of the day will be eclipse, and you can find that definition on page 158. And then I will talk briefly about a somewhat rare phenomenon that we got to experience last night. That we had the aurora borealis, and since we're in the sun unit, I felt like we should just talk about it for just a minute. So if you were able to look outside last night, I was sleeping when this happened, and I'm very bummed about it, but these are some pictures that were shared with me from some family members. These were all in the Buffalo, St. Michael, Albertville area. So we had a nice display of aurora last night. We have a short video on aurora that, again, it's just fun. So the aurora borealis are a result of a solar flare from the solar winds that occur and disrupt our magnetic field that's created by our molten core here on Earth. And we see the particles charged, and we see that give off light when particles in our atmosphere are disrupted. So we had a nice show for that last night, in case you saw it. We also had a student question: why was this waning crescent tilted in this direction and not like how we see it right to left here? And this photo was taken in the Dominican Republic. So this is a little bit of a complicated answer, but I've linked a couple of resources in Google Classroom in case you finished early and wanted to learn more about this. So the shorter answer is that it has to do with our tilt of 23 degrees and the position of the moon's orbit. So this is an article from a school district in Madison, and I talked about how sometimes it looks like a backwards C with this waxing crescent, sometimes with the one that they're going to show us, and sometimes it looks like a U, and this is at different times of the year that it looks like this. So we see that the tilt of the crescent moon varies based on our latitude. So that student picture was in Dominican Republic, which is much closer to the equator, and I'll show you some pictures of what that might look like at different portions. So this is a illustration from Madison, Wisconsin, saying that Madison is right here, and this is in March, and we see that we're right on this trajectory of looking at the moon. So if you imagine yourself standing on the moon's surface looking up, or starting on the Earth's surface and looking up, you are going to see kind of like that smiley shaped crescent moon. And if you're down near the equator, your vantage point is going to be much different, that you're going to see a different angle of that. So here in March, in Madison in March, this is what the moon's crescent looks like just based off of the latitude. And then in September, in our other equinox, our fall equinox, we have our moon's crescent over here, and this is the green is the moon's orbit, and then Madison would be tilted away. And so then we're seeing, if you're standing here and looking down on the moon, then that's when it looks more of that backward C shape for this particular waxing crescent. And if you were near the equator here, then that's when it would look a little bit different as well, depending on where you are on the Earth. If you're just imagine standing on the surface and looking at where you are. It takes a little bit of that three-dimensional thinking, but this is what the moon then would look like in Madison in September. And this changes throughout the year, and it's not always consistent, but this is just kind of a relative guess. So that was just to answer a student question. We are going to do a double for our do now and word of the day. So we had our word of the day as eclipse, and then we have another double whammy. Describe the position of the Earth, Moon, and Sun during a lunar eclipse. We know a lunar eclipse can only occur during a full moon, and a full moon has to occur when the Sun, Earth, and Moon are in alignment. So the Earth has to be in between the Moon and the Sun in order to see the illuminated portion of the Moon from the Sun pointing towards the Earth. Here is a brief video then on solar eclipses. We watched one on lunar eclipses yesterday. And then here is another illustration of our umbra penumbra for our mini books. Here was a funny from eclipses. So what really happens during a solar eclipse is that's a photobomb. The moon is getting in the way of the Earth taking a picture of the sun, essentially. The rest of the time will be yours to work on your mini books. This will be due on Monday, so come prepared with your mini book ready to turn in on Monday. Make sure that you have a lunar eclipse page, a solar eclipse page, and then why it's relatively rare to see an eclipse and what is an umbra, what is a penumbra. So you should have your first page, so your cover page. Then you should so cover page is page 1, and you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pages covered. So try to fill up your book as much as possible. Have writing on every page, have a illustration on every page. Make sure that you are putting in your best effort and add color. All right, if there are any questions throughout the week, just know that, and here are all the points for all of those. Throughout the weekend, just give Mr. Painter I shoot us an email or a Google chat. We'll try to get to it as we are able. It might not be until Monday morning, though. We are working to get some of those things graded. We've seen your emails about grades. I'm doing my best here running the ship by myself this week. So I appreciate your patience with that, and I'll get them to you as soon as possible. Have a great day, middle schoolies. Be kind, and we will see you soon.